Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with another episode of Cobra Kai Season 2, specifically Episode 2. And yeah, it's been a little bit, and that's kind of the that's kind of what's going to happen with this unscheduled format. We're going to have like sometimes shows that go a little bit without having a new episode. This one, it's only been like 2 weeks because we just didn't have one last week. And there's a few shows that it seems like we're not going to be getting to this week. The holidays are just especially going to be difficult to get to everything each week, so I kind of have to pick and choose as what I'm feeling at the time. So I apologize to anyone who's looking forward to specific things, and it's like it's what we're doing now. I let you guys know about this ahead of time, so it's not like it's coming out of nowhere. But yeah, that's what we're doing, and it's gonna be like this, unfortunately. It should be better after the holidays. It should be better after the holidays are over. Once I'm able to, have a little more free time. But the holidays are always typically busy and stressful and shit, so yeah. Either way, either way, I'm excited to continue on to see what more we get with this. The big thing, of course, being that now we have Kreese back, and unfortunately he has manipulated Johnny into accepting his help. And that's never a good thing, because Kreese has manipulated Johnny so much in the past, and he finally broke away. He finally started becoming a better person, but this is just going to bring things back to the way they were. And whether Johnny has a slip back or whether he just struggles to tell Kreese no, whichever way it ends up being, it's going to cause harm within Cobra Kai and in general. Excuse me. And it's definitely not going to do any good when it comes to Miguel, who is still just not understanding what he did wrong. He still doesn't get how bad he had been. Even with Johnny punishing him and Hawk at karate practice, even with the little quote-unquote speech Johnny gave to him, he clearly still doesn't get it. He's trying to be this quote-unquote tough guy because he's afraid of being bullied. Because he's afraid of being on the receiving end. And there's a lot of bullies who are like that, who do it just to avoid being bullied themselves. That doesn't make it okay, that doesn't make it right. It's understandable, though. And that's why it's still very clear to me that Miguel can and probably will be saved at some point. That this is just a temporary setback for him. He definitely isn't a bad kid. He's a very good kid. It's just Johnny, unfortunately, did lead him down a bad path. And Johnny realizes this, and he realizes that he needs to fix that. But I don't think Kreese is going to help in the matter. Meanwhile, Daniel is starting up the Miyagi-Do dojo. He is training his one student and ends up getting a second because his daughter agrees to join the dojo as well. but only after he makes it clear that he's not going to do this to take down Cobra Kai, but to help them. This was the one thing she wanted. The one thing that she told him was holding her back from joining and all. The entire idea of taking out Cobra Kai bothered her because they're friends of hers there. People she cares about. She doesn't want to take them out. She wants to help them. And hearing this, Daniel decided to change that. He decided to adjust his plan and make it clear that he was in the wrong. A lot of this series, both in season 1 and even still, now with the first episode of season 2, is both Johnny and Daniel making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. And they're still going to make more, but they're going to learn from those as well. Because they're human. They're trying to be better, both of them. But they're going to mess up along the way. That's how it works. That's the human experience. They have to keep striving to do and be better. But nobody's perfect. And nobody's going to be able to do that without still tripping every once in a while. And it's something that you guys who have watched the channel and hear me talk about it enough know that I can connect to. Through all the mistakes I've made in the past and all, I've been trying to be better, trying to do better, trying to say better. And in a lot of ways I've succeeded, but in other ones I've failed. I've taken steps back. I've tripped. And that's going to happen. And I accept that. I don't think that's going to be a perfect journey, that I'm just going to succeed at being better every single time I try. That's not realistic. So whenever I do trip and fall, I just make sure to learn from it. To adjust myself. And I'll make more mistakes. It's gonna happen. But I'll learn from those too. Again, it's part of the human experience. And honestly, it makes us better when we learn from our mistakes. Because it allows us to grow. And honestly, it's made me such a better person as it is, so. Anyways, I don't know where this is going to go exactly. Probably not in a good way, at least right away, because of Kreese being back. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Because Kreese doesn't have control or anything, but he is being brought back into the fold of things. And I could see him trying to wrestle control of Cobra Kai out of Johnny's hands. I just really hope Johnny, comes to the realization that this is not a good thing and that Kreese was manipulating him. I hope he comes to that realization before too long. Excuse me. And I hope that that Johnny and Daniel both continue to grow. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way, we're just going to get this started and hope for the best. So, when the screen fades black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, yeah, that went pretty much about where I was expecting. He knows what he's doing. Kreese knows what he's doing in terms of manipulation. Because it's very classic signs and it's very clearly intentional. Um, the way he compliments Johnny, the way he's like, "Let's go get a beer," um, and the way he's saying like, "This guy's gonna lead you to championships and everything. This guy's your teacher. You have to listen to him." And shit. The everything he's saying is just right. It's just right for manipulation in order to get Johnny to fall back into his view of falling into line. It's exactly what he wants, and he knows what he's doing. And you could maybe say that some of that comes from his military background, because if you don't think that there is conditioning and shit and manipulation within the military, you are really sorely mistaken. Um, yeah, maybe some of that comes from there, but more than likely, that's something that did come from his years just teaching, something that he learned and taught himself through his time as the leader of the Cobra Kai dojo. Um, and that's not a good thing because Johnny is falling for. Johnny is definitely falling back into his old ways, and he's doing dangerous things with his students. He's becoming a lot harsher and more intense. He's basically becoming Kreese, which is what Kreese wants. But it's not what Johnny wants, and it's not what the students want. And I don't know how this is going to be stopped. The only thing I can think of is that Johnny's going to see, like, he's going to see how far he falls. Something's going to be a rude wake-up call for him, whether it's students quitting en masse, whether it's just shit falling apart with his relationships with his students, especially with Miguel, whether it's maybe one day he just goes too far, he snaps and maybe even hits one of them, and it scares him. Something like that. Something is going to shock his system to where it breaks him out of the spell he's in, you could say. That's my guess as to where this is going. But the question is whether or not it'll be too late. Because Kreese is clearly trying to worm his way back into control. He's not just trying to control Johnny. He wants to control Cobra Kai again. And if it takes Johnny too long to realize this, Kreese could end up becoming a lot more than just a observer. Meanwhile, on the other side, things are going extremely well for Daniel. He is doing extremely well with his training. Like, even before he figures out new ways to do things, it's like he's like so hard on himself, but he was actually doing well. It's like, of course they weren't going to get it right away. It's gonna take some time and practice and some, like, effort put in, but they were going to start getting it. So he just had to be a little more patient about it. But also, reinventing things and trying to figure things out in different ways is also very smart. Trying to teach his students in ways that are not quite the same as Mr. Miyagi's, but are his own version of that. That's smart. That's great. So he starts to even improve on that once he figures that out. The scene with him and his wife doing the sales techniques and getting those cars sold was fantastic, by the way. It was really genuinely good. It just felt like they were perfectly in sync, and it was fun. It was entertaining. Like it was two professional salesmen doing their best, and that's great. That's fun to see. It was presented in a very fun way. Um, but then we have Robbie. Robbie has issues with his family. His father has never been there for him. And his mother, although she had been there for so long, is becoming a lot less secure as well. She's starting to leave for days at a time. She's going out of country with men she's picking up. And she's just generally not being there for him anymore. She's leaving him on his own and to fend for himself. She's not even, like she said that this guy she was with was going to pay the rent and everything, but that was clearly a lie. And it's just, she clearly does not care anymore. Like, I'm not saying that she hates her son or anything. Like, she does love him, but she clearly doesn't care enough to actually, take care of him. It's, and he's not doing well. It's not going well for him. Some kids his age could easily handle things on their own, but he already suffers abandonment issues. He can't handle this. So when Daniel's daughter, whose name I also still can just never remember, when she Sam, is it Sam? It might be Sam. When she realizes something's going on with Robbie, she tells her father, and he's, of course, willing to help. And even his wife is like, yeah, he's fine to stay for tonight. I'm all good with that. But if we want to make it for longer, we have to, reach out to his parents. She's, not even, saying no to that option. She's saying, we just have to let them know and get that all squared away. Which is yeah, that's fair. That's pretty damn fair. But it's Robbie is going through some shit that working with Daniel is very much going to help him with. And there is definitely some shit leading into the idea of him and Sam getting together. And that will piss Miguel off. That will fucking make him livid. But that would also probably lean him into becoming more of an asshole and becoming more subservient, for lack of a better word, to Johnny and Kreese. He'll become worse. And unfortunately, I think that's what they're going for. I think that that Robbie and Sam are going to get together. Miguel's going to find out and be extremely upset. He's going to put everything into the karate and become much worse. Become genuinely terrible. Become like Johnny was in the original Karate Kid. But like I said in the pre-thoughts, I do think that he is going to come back from this. That he is a good kid and that he's not going to be stuck in this forever. He's just at a point in his life where he's too afraid to be bullied, too afraid to be on the receiving end, that he has to be the bully himself. It's the only way he sees that he can survive right now. It sucks. It really sucks. But at the same time, excuse me, it definitely has to get worse before it gets better. I mean, that's just how these types of stories go. Um, but I would love to hear your thoughts. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Cobra Kai? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.